house. Forgive the glary glasses. I'm right in front of the window again because it's really cloudy today. I wanted to talk to you guys today about making the most out of a tiny TN, making the most out of a smaller planner. A lot of people have said that they would really like to go smaller but couldn't imagine getting everything they wanted into such a small book, which I totally understand. I have kind of funneled my way down from, having been in like a half letter size or, like an A5 size down to like a field note size. So I totally get that. So I just thought I'd share with you guys a couple of the ways that I've made a tiny size work for me. I even have notes. Let's see. The first thing that I know I had to do, I made a video called Pint Size Planning. It's been quite a little while ago now. I'll link it down below if you haven't seen it. But when I first started carrying the smaller planner, the whole point was I was not carrying my planner with me at all. If I had to leave the house, my planner stayed here. That just doesn't work for me. I need to carry my planner with me. I have to. So I wanted to separate out anything that I could leave home, and that generally stays into like a Filofax Malden, a personal size, or a Vanderspec, also personal size. Financial stuff, reference stuff, forward planning, I go back and forth. Sometimes I have the same insert from Marcia Bermucci in both planners. It just depends on what I feel like using that month. There's a lot of stuff that if you look really closely, that you might be carrying with you, that might be taking up space in your planner, that you don't need to have out of the house with you. I always wanted everything available out of the house with me, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff I don't need when I'm going somewhere and I'm taking my planner with me. So that stuff all moved into the ring bound planner. So that was kind of the first way I started making the most of this stuff, is culling out the stuff that I do not need to carry with me, okay? The second thing I realized, kind of a shift in my thinking, was that I was treating every insert in my pocket size or my field note size traveler's notebook, I was treating every insert or every booklet like a section behind a divider in my ring bound planner. Now you can do that. There is nothing wrong with doing that. If that works for you, that's totally fine. It worked for me for a long time. But as the way I use this, and I carry it every day, as the way that everyday carry usage kind of evolved, I found that I was far better off not treating every booklet like an insert in a couple of different ways. I'll explain to you how I stopped treating every insert like a divider. And I'll tell you why. I'm fighting a tickle. I'm so sorry, you guys. What I did first of all was I started splitting my inserts. So if I had like a field notes notebook, it sits, halfway on both sides of the elastic, right? The front half of the book, the back half of the book. I started using the front half of inserts for one, say, topic or subject, and the back half of that insert for another topic. Because if I had one whole insert in here, say for notes for videos, okay, that could last me for months, and there's nothing wrong with that. What got to me, because I'm picky, was that I was carrying around video notes with me that I didn't need anymore. Once I make the video, if there's something in my notes that I know I might want to refer back to, I'll take a picture of that page and upload it to Evernote. I no longer need it with me. Now, does that mean I want to be tearing pages out of notebooks? No, because that would drive me crazy too. But what I found was if I split my insert and use the front half for one thing, the back half for another thing, generally, just the way I tend to use them, generally by the time they were getting close to full, front and back, it was about the time that I was ready to stop carrying the information that was in there anyway, and I had filled up pretty much the whole insert. So instead of carrying two separate inserts that at that point would only be half full of information I really didn't need to carry with me anymore anyway, I had one full insert that I could archive and I could start over again. Does that make sense? So that helped me get more kind of subjects or topics into a small notebook. The other thing that really helped, and I know you guys have seen other people do this, is putting inserts inside of other inserts. So like the one that my insert that I have all my notes for videos and where communications are with people for, collaborations or magazine stuff or whatever, because those are on Instagram and on Facebook Messenger and in my email, they're kind of all over. That all kind of goes together if you think about it, right? So I put it all on one elastic in the notebook, but it's actually an insert inside another insert. So this one is just a field notes, just straight up, I believe it's a cherry wood. And then in the center of that, I put the Annie Plans Printables appointment tracker, because that's where I keep track of all those communications and where they are. So I'm only using one insert, but or one elastic I should say, but I have 3 separate topics inside of this. The front half is all video notes, the center is all communications for video collaborations or the magazine or whatever, and the back half is all the magazine. And it's all in one elastic. It's not super thick. Nothing wrong with a thick insert if you like it, don't get me wrong. But I've only used up one elastic that way. Okay, so that was kind of the other way I started making the most of the space that I had. If you're going to put an insert inside of another insert, I mean, you could feasibly have 4 different kind of subsections in there, and that's where a lot of my top tabs come from, you guys, is me dividing up subsections within one insert. I just, you know, tab each little section on top. So you could have, like, the front half of this field notes insert could be one thing, and then the front half of the insert that I've set in the middle could be another thing. The back half of that insert I've set in the middle could be another thing, and then the back half of the field notes insert could be another thing, all on one elastic. So that was like game-changing for me. That really allowed me to get information out of here that I don't need to carry with me anymore in a timely manner without wasting a bunch of paper. I found myself being more open to ideas regarding using inserts for things other than what the indicated use was given. Does that make sense? So, okay, for example, Annie Plants Printables has an undated daily grid, and it's to me it looks very like bullet journal-ish. It's a very bullets journal style looking insert. There's the beginning of it would be basically, there's your month, right? It's numbered 1 through 31, a line per day, and then back here everything is numbered, but there's not a Monday, Tuesday, there's no day of the week written on it, just the dates. And Annie has it listed as an undated daily grid insert, which makes perfect sense to me. However, I saw it and went, oh my gosh, I need to thin out my notes that are in here. I have notes in here I don't need to carry anymore. It's a nice thin insert, but it's got, you know, 31 pages in it because it's made to cover a month. So why not use that for your notes, right? Or your lists. That is my table of contents, so I know what is where, and then your pages are already numbered because the dated numbers are already on there. So it's not listed as a lists insert or a reference insert or, you know, a collections insert or anything like that, or a bullet journal insert. It's listed as an undated daily insert, but it works great as a collections or a lists or a reference insert. So I had to learn to be more open-minded about using inserts for different things. You know, covering things up. If the framework of an insert is something I know will be useful, like when I first started the magazine last fall, I was using DIY Fish 2 days per page because I was drawing that out inside of, just real quick, just, you know, like a bunch of lines with a ruler, but dividing my pages in half, like, you know, up here would be the info for one article, down here would be the info for another article, and I figured out right away that's about the space I needed, was about half of a field note size page. So I had already downloaded from a little while ago DIY Fish, 2 days per page. Well, all I did was cover up the date with a post-it flag, you know, and listed instead the author and the article, and then I had that space already laid out, wonderful grid paper. You guys know how much I love DIY Fish grid paper. And it was ready to go. It was supposed to be 2 days per page. I used it for articles for the magazine instead, and it worked beautifully. So, you know, I had to learn to be more open-minded about using things for purposes other than their indicated purpose, and, you know, cover things up with washi, cover things up with, you know, page flags, you know, whatever you need to do. If there's something you really like the framework of, but you want the text changed or you want the text removed, many Etsy sellers, if you're talking about printables, will do that for you. If you message them and ask for a custom, a lot of them will do that for you. So bear that in mind as well. This one was a biggie for me. I generally do not bind my inserts. I think most of you guys know that. When I like print out my pages for the month, let's say, I print them, I fold them, I trim them down to size, I stick them under the elastic. The elastic holds them just fine. I have yet to lose anything out from under an elastic. I'm sure if anybody could manage to find a way to do something like that, it would be me, but I haven't managed it yet. So I don't bind my inserts. And the nice thing about having, especially a notes, kind of scribble, like my first book in here is just kind of like random, you know, stuff that I kind of want separate from my daily pages, ideas for, you know, writing stuff, that kind of thing. I have that all in a separate insert and it's not bound. I will even take the staples out of like field notes inserts. And a slight aside, part of this not binding my pages and getting the habit of having the elastic hold them in there really helped me start to use up my inserts. Because a lot of times I would get through an insert and be ready to change it for whatever reason. There'd still be pages maybe in the center that hadn't been used yet. Well, I'd take the staples out of, you know, 2 or 3 inserts, take those center pages out, stack them all together. Here I have a brand new insert to use, and I haven't wasted that paper. So totally a side note, but so like I was saying, when I have an unbound insert like that, if I have notes or things I need to write down that are pertinent for right now, I need them written down, but I know I'm not going to need it long term, I'm not going to need to carry it with me for too long, but I got to get it written down, I will write them in the center of my kind of scribble notebook. I'll write them in the center of that. If it's big enough I can slap it on a post, or if it's small enough amount of information I can slap it on a post-it and put it somewhere, I'll just do that. But a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's too much information to get onto like a standard post-it note. So I will always use, I'll fix it in a second, baby, okay? 1 sec, I'm almost done, sweetheart. I'll put it in the center of an insert because it's not bound. When I no longer need that information with me, I just take that page out and I'm not disturbing the rest of any other information that's in there. But I can get it out of there because I don't need it anymore. So that was big for me, being able to kind of still have the ability to take things out and put things in and have it still work a little more. It's not exactly like a ring bound binder, don't get me wrong, but it's close. It's, for my purposes, it's close enough. Pardon me. The last thing that I know a lot of people have said was, you know, I don't want to just willy-nilly go buy, you know, something going down that many sizes from what I'm in now, which I totally get. Believe me, we have 8,000 kids, so we have a, there he goes, we have a heck of a budget. So I don't want to just buy sizes and notebooks willy-nilly and hope they work and hope that if they don't work that, you know, somebody else might want it. So he's gonna jog through again, 1 sec. There he goes. Okay, I have one more to do and I'm done, okay, babe?
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so one of the first things I did when I was thinking about downsizing, you know, this far, was I had a stack of scrap paper that was just like worksheets and stuff from the kids from like the prior quarter. The semester was done, they weren't using them anymore, they cleaned out their folders, and I held on to, we recycled a lot of it because there was a lot of it, but I held on to some of it because scratch paper is good for like Liam to do scissor work and, you know, us to paste things and collage stuff, you know, that kind of thing. So I grabbed a bunch of that and I made inserts out of it that I wasn't necessarily going to write in. But I mean, I could take one piece of paper and try it, you know what I mean? But I wanted to see it in a full insert, not just one piece of paper folded in half. So I made a couple of just like fake little inserts out of it. I took like 10 pieces of paper maybe each, made a couple of booklets, you know, opened them up, looked at them, laid out a couple of fake days in them and weeks in them to kind of see how it felt to have that much space. That really helped me kind of visualize what I was going to want and need to change to make a small size work for me. The other time that I did that I'm so glad I did, was when I was thinking about trying an A6 size. I had been talking to Jennifer at Chic Sparrow, hi Jennifer, and she had asked if I'd ever considered using an A6 size, and I never had. I really liked pocket size. Things were kind of getting busier and I needed a little more space, but not a ton more space. So we were talking about you know, what would kind of a good alternative be? And she was like, well, you've never tried an A6, I don't think, have you? And she was right, I hadn't. It's not a big jump from a pocket to an A6, but if you're worried about going from like a personal size down to a pocket, A6 is a really nice pit stop in between. And being able to make up those little fake inserts and see the little bit of extra real estate you get for writing out of that was like fundamental in me deciding to try that A6. And I now love the A6 size. Because seeing it laid out in an insert really helped me wrap my brain around the fact that, say if you're going from a field note size to an A6 size, an A6 is a 1/2 inch wider and a 1/2 inch taller than a field note size, okay? Field notes is 5.5 by 3.5, A6 is 6 by 4. So when it's closed, it's an extra 1/2 inch on the side, okay? But when it's open, if you think about it, you have an extra 1/2 inch on either side. So you've gained an inch total per spread of writing space. And I thought, okay, well, an inch, you know, but seeing it laid out in an insert like that made a huge difference for me to kind of visualize, okay, I can see how I can make this work. Having those little fake inserts put together to try that stuff out on was invaluable. So if you're thinking about downsizing, slap together a couple of fake inserts, you know, put them together in something you may already have, or just lay them out on the table and just try it. Just lay out a couple of days or a couple of weeks, or, you know, however you lay stuff out, and see if it works or not. He thinks he's being sneaky. Thank you. So that is it, you guys. That's kind of been the way that I've made the most of the space that I have in here. If you have any questions, give me a holler, okay? Somebody's getting really antsy, so we're gonna go back outside. Thanks so much, guys.